Hello legal hustlers. In this video we will learn about categorical syllogism. But first, what is syllogism? It is a deductive argument in which the conclusion arrives from two propositions. There are three types of syllogism. 1. Disjunctive, involves a choice between two alternatives. For example, either it is sunny or it is raining. It is not sunny, therefore it is raining. 2. Hypothetical syllogism involves conditional statements where the truth of one proposition depends on the truth of another. For example, if it rains, then the ground is wet. It is raining, therefore the ground is wet. 3. Categorical syllogism involves two premises and a conclusion, where each statement categorically relates two classes or categories. For example, all humans are mortal. Socrates is a human, therefore Socrates is mortal. But in this video we will be focusing more on categorical syllogism. Categorical syllogism. A syllogism consisting of three categorical propositions, and containing three distinct terms, each of which appears in exactly two of the three propositions. Let's see what are three distinct terms. Three distinct terms are major, minor and middle. Major term, the predicate term of the conclusion. Minor term, the subject term of the conclusion. Middle term, the term that does not appear in the conclusion. Solve this question and write the answer in the comment box. Now let's see the rules of syllogism. First, rules of structure. Syllogism must consist of three and only three propositions. If a syllogism has less than three propositions, it will be an immediate inference, and if more than three, it's called sorites. A syllogism must consist of three terms. If there are more than three terms, it's called the fallacy of four terms, usually happening when a term is unclear and has two meanings. This is called the fallacy of equivocation. For instance, in the statement, his knowledge of history is sound, sound is ambiguous because it means what is heard in one part and free from defect in another. This confusion can happen with any of the three terms and leads to three types of fallacies: ambiguous major, ambiguous minor, and ambiguous middle. The example given falls under ambiguous middle. Second, rules of distribution. The middle term must be distributed at least once in the premises. No term can be distributed in the conclusion unless it is distributed in the premise. This rule ensures that the conclusion of a valid syllogism does not make claims beyond what is established in the premises. If a term is distributed, referenced in its entire denotation, in the conclusion, it must also be distributed in the corresponding premise. Failure to follow this rule leads to two fallacies: illicit major and illicit minor. Illicit major. This fallacy occurs when the major term is distributed in the conclusion but not in the major premise. Illicit minor. This fallacy occurs when the minor term is distributed in the conclusion but not in the minor premise. Rules of quality. 1. No conclusion can be drawn from two negative premises. 2. When one premise is negative, the conclusion must be negative. Conversely. 3. When both premises are affirmative, the conclusion must be affirmative. Corollaries. It is based on previous rules. First rule is from two particular premises. No conclusion can be drawn because, when both premises are particular, they fail to distribute terms properly. This leads to fallacies such as undistributed middle or illicit major because the premises together only distribute one term, making it impossible to draw a valid conclusion. If one premise is particular, the conclusion will be particular because when one premise is particular, the conclusion will also be particular. This ensures logical consistency and prevents fallacies such as illicit major or undistributed middle. The distribution of terms in the premises and conclusion follows specific patterns based on the types of propositions involved. A particular major premise and a negative minor premise. No conclusion can be drawn when the major premise is particular and affirmative and the minor premise is negative. The conclusion cannot be valid. This is because the major term, which is distributed in the conclusion, remains undistributed in the major premise, leading to the fallacy of illicit major. Moods of syllogism. Moods forms based upon the quality and quantity of the constituent propositions are called moods. There are 19 valid moods if we consider the premises alone, and 24 valid moods if we consider the conclusion too. Moods can be determined either by applying the general rules and corollaries of syllogism or by applying the special rules of figures. This is 64 mood. Take the screenshot of this. Now let's see figures of categorical syllogism. Aristotle was given 3 figures of categorical syllogism depending upon the position of the middle term in the premises. Later Galen added a 4th figure to the categorical syllogism. Figure 1 states that the middle term is the subject of the major premise and the predicate of the minor premise. Figure 2 explains the middle term is the predicate of both major and minor premises. Figure 3 the middle term is the subject of both the major and minor premises. Figure 4 states the middle term is the predicate of the major premise and the subject of the minor premise. Take the screenshot of the slides. This will help you to solve sums of categorical syllogism. Let's solve some sums with moods, figures and its validity. First question. All rational beings are responsible for their actions. No lower animals are rational beings. Therefore, no lower animals are responsible for their actions. All rational beings are responsible for their actions. No lower animals are rational beings. Therefore, no lower animals are responsible for their actions. Here, middle term is rational beings. Major proposition is responsible for their actions. And minor proposition is no lower animals. So here figure 1 form. Thus, this syllogism is valid. It follows the mood form AE in figure 1, where both premises are universal. In this case, there's no fallacy present because the terms are distributed properly in both premises, and the conclusion follows logically from the premises. Therefore, the argument is valid. Second question. All Frenchmen are Europeans. All Germans are Europeans. Hence, all Germans are Frenchmen. Here, middle term is Europeans. Major proposition is Frenchmen. And minor proposition is Germans. Here figure form 2. And mood is AAA. Here, this syllogism is invalid because A. Proposition distributed subject. So as per syllogism rules middle term must be distributed in any of the premises. So legal hustlers, solve this question and write the answer in the comment box.
Thank you for watching. We're thrilled to have you here and hope that you find our content informative, engaging, and entertaining. Be sure to like, share and subscribe and don't forget to join us for further updates.